What up, guys? It's your boy Dave Noodles. We are on CTV, and today I got a very special guest with me, Mr. Picante himself.
Danny
Eddy I.
We're here. It's Eddy I.
What up, man? Welcome.
Happy to be here.
I know you've been grinding for a while. Probably half your life you've been in this music game.
Yeah, it's been definitely a crazy journey, and we're still going, but it's been amazing so far.
Nice. Could you look back and remember that first album that you ever bought that really inspired you?
Well, growing up, I didn't really buy my own stuff. I was I was a little kid, didn't really have any money or anything, but I do remember having my mom always used to play a bunch of Biggie, a bunch of Eminem in the house, so the first album I was really resonating with that I loved, it was just so weird, was the Slim Shady LP. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's my favorite M album too.
Nice. That's not weird at all. I feel like that album is classic.
Yeah, as a kid,
I was a
little kid,
Yeah, I was 14 when I heard it, so you had to have been 3.
Yeah, I was such a little
2.
But my first album I ever bought was Earl Sweatshirt, Doris.
Wow.
That was 2012, 2013.
Okay, 6 years ago then.
Yeah, it was the first time I went and bought a disc because I was so excited for an album, And ever since then I started buying albums.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was real recent.
And when did you get into actually creating your own stuff?
Well, I've been rapping since I was 5. Ever since I was able to talk and form sentences, I was kind of compelled to rap and make it happen because I was surrounded by a bunch of people in my family who were so connected with music, but really putting in music and making it and then putting it out wasn't until high school. I had been rapping the whole time, but I hadn't put out tracks till junior year in high school. So I waited for a really long time to do that.
That's really cool. And you were just because I remember meeting you around that time. I think you were about 15, 16. You had a label, you had a group or whatever, a collective that you all created.
Project Sound.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, just a bunch of my friends that we went to high school together, and I just kind of I don't like being alone, and it's less fun to do things regardless of how cool they are by yourself,
Exactly.
So I was rapping is fun, but it'd be even more fun. Friends. So I just figured we'd all get together. I'd find people who were really into music or at least wanted to try and get into it, and so I was always there trying to encourage people to get into music rather than doing a bunch of other nonsense, so it's trying to make an outlet for the people around me that kind of didn't have anything to express themselves with. That was what I wanted to do.
That's great. Yeah, because in high school it's hard to get a job. There's all this free time, so that's cool. You were able to kind of take that free time and freestyle with it or create something with it.
Yeah,
because you've been on a creative streak. I know you dropped that first project probably around 16. Right? Was your first mixtape?
Yeah, it had to have been around 16. I had dropped 4. No, not even 5 mixtapes before we got to this point, and I had deleted them all. They're all gone.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, sheesh. Now I'm thinking about it, I put out way too many things.
No, that's good. I think you're kind of swinging for the fences. You kind of kept swinging. Yeah,
I had to realize it was good. It was a trial and error period where I had to figure out what I wanted to sound like, what I wanted to do, and so making those mixtapes helped me get all that punchline rapidy rapping out of my system so that I could focus on, okay, how do we make some songs, So I got it all out, and now I'm making music, I'm happy that it turned out that way. I'm happy that I put out all those terrible tracks.
There was some, thinking back, there were a few I really liked. I feel Amazing.
Yeah,
I feel that was one that really hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wait, because I I forgot what the first one was, but there was a really good one. I put it on my first mixtape. It was like when we just met, but I forgot the name of it.
I think it was amazing.
No, because it was like even before. But I remember that one was good, but then when I heard Amazing, I was like, oh. And then I saw you performing at Snug Harbor during that SOS event.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, I think you found a knack for this hook stuff. You found a hook for the... And then I remember you did a song with Lucid, and that one banged too. And I was like, wait a minute, his song game is really... In just a year of knowing this guy, he's already getting like hooks that are really getting people involved into it. And it's just been evolution ever since. I know you were recording on a lot of like commercial beats.
Yeah, all of them. Every mixtape I put out was just a bunch of commercial beats or songs, instrumentals we found on YouTube, you know? And like it was always cool. Like I loved that you guys loved Amazing, but then I started getting in my own head and I was like, this isn't even my beat, you know? And like when people were getting so excited to hear me perform it, I was like, this doesn't even belong to me, guys. Like I started feeling like a cheat. I was like, this isn't even. I'm not the hero. I'm not the hero you all think I am.
You took the Batman cape.
Yeah, just like threw it all out. I'm going. I'm a regular human being again.
Hey, that's how 50 got on. I feel like those are those victory remixes. And those.
But it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
To have people sing the lyrics that I like worked on to a beat I was there for the creation of, like with my everything being like part of my imagination, everything that my ideas coming up and then people liking it. That's ridiculous to me. So like the feeling of like having people like a song of mine infinitely more satisfying than it was for Amazing, because like this feels like it's my baby, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's ridiculous.
And just in terms of the industry, you could only do so much when you have a song with someone else's beat that they have no clue you recorded on it. You could only go so far. So it could get those SoundCloud that SoundCloud love, but it's true, having your own baby, as you would put it, it's really such a difference. And when was kind of that transitional song where you were doing all the mixtape stuff, and then you kind of, what was that, maybe that first record that was like completely custom?
Okay, so every song on the album has its own story. But like the first song that I actually worked on with Glaze was Aurora. And that song, I remember having everybody in because I used to live with all of my friends. It was like 6 of us in an apartment. I remember when I finally... This was back when I was trying to impress Glaze so that he would work with me. I felt like I was like hitting on that high school crush. I was like, listen, trust me, I'm going to be lit. I'm going to be lit. The glow up's going to be real. But so like I had to like prove to him that I could write a song. He was like, yo, we know you could rap, but can you make a song? So I sat there and wrote this freaking song. And when I was so proud of myself, I called everybody. I called a house meeting. I was like, everybody come to my room right now. Blasted the speakers, performed the song, and they were like, wow, that's actually not different.
Nice.
And so like that was the first one, and that song took a year and a half to to be fully done. Like, and at that point we were like, all right, let's start. And then Unapologetic, and then I Admit It, and that's like. It was. We were trying to.
That's a good foundation.
Yeah, dude. Like, and that's why I was a little worried about putting Aurora on the album, because I was worried people weren't gonna like it. But it's like one of my favorites, man. Like it's a pop record, but it's like I don't know. Like it's different. It's different. It has like a different energy to a lot of the songs on the album. But now it has like mad history. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of UploadED.
It's cool, yeah, because you don't stray away from. It has a pop sound, but it doesn't stray away from like the hip hop chords, like that, and it's like, and you really hit the notes every time, like the cadence hits every time, and they're all memorable, you know. So I get my Nike on, right?
Yeah.
Like I like that. I like how it, and I like how the voice. What I liked about when I heard that song. There was so many voices too. Like you were rapping, but then you were kind of hitting us with these kind of like they're not yodels, they're not EIs, you know what I mean? They were their own little language.
I realized that I do that a lot. Like now my thing, you know how like, okay, Kid Cudi has his hums, like you know it's Cudi. Like me, I just do mad random riffs that like, yo, I'll be like, yo, this sounds lit, and then I hate it by the time I have to transcribe it, because like when it's time to write it down, I'm like, what is this? What do I type? You know?
Yeah.
Someone typed it out.
I saw that.
Yo, that made me belly laugh, bro. Ooh, ah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, damn, that's funny, because like that's really what it is, you know. But like, yeah, that's like my thing, you know, like the random riffs and melodies. Like I've learned to like kind of make that my thing. I like that a lot.
I think that's the soul. I think it's just like that soul kicking in, and just like Michael Jackson had the.
Yeah, that's dope. Like
this,
like the scat. Like,
yeah.
Would that be considered scat? Like, yeah, that's super dope.
And it kind of becomes this universal language too, because if you're from Japan and you hear that, or you're from
everyone can sing
you're from
that.
Guatemala and you hear that, you may say kicking is slow, like that's its own thing. But when you go, oh yeah,
that's not even a certain language.
And I think thinking back to one of my favorite artists, MJ, growing up, I felt like everything he did was that.
Yeah.
The whole song was like. You could almost rap hum the verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think when I heard that on Aurora, I was like, whoa, like it's getting a little deeper than just bars, you know. And did Aurora come out first or Unapologetic?
Unapologetic was the first single we put out.
I think you did the right thing with that.
Yeah, I wanted to. I felt like jumping in with Aurora would have set a different tone.
Exactly.
Where I wanted to come out of left field with a pop record. So when I dropped Unapologetic, it was like, hey, I tried to do. I was subtle with Unapologetic, where it was a rap song, but there was some melodic elements there. There was a hook. There was foundation. I wanted to show that it's a lot like there was growth to what they remember me doing with all the mixtapes. Exactly. So by the time I actually had real songs in the tuck, and I put that out, they were like, oh, this is way different than that other song. And it's like, and then I wanted another song that was different from that. So I wanted to hit every different point so people knew that I wasn't, playing around this time.
Yeah, what I liked about that song too, you kept it very community. You had little people running through the video, and everyone from people you knew to people you know, their kids.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that I didn't know in there. I was like, yo, you trying to be in the video? And they were like, all right. They had fun. They had a good time. Some kid did a backflip. Didn't know me. Yeah. I don't even know the kid's name. Thanks, backflip kid.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, I think when Unapologetic it really just set the tone. It was just like,
yeah, it was fun.
We're going to have fun, but we're going to take this serious. And I think just the whole project, it just feels like that. It felt like you were having a lot of fun. It felt like, but you were also venting too. It didn't just seem like you were having a party during the whole creation of this. I felt like you were going through some stuff, And there's some songs I hear. One of my personal favorites, I Admit It. I know you're probably sick of it because you probably heard it a million times being mixed. But
that song has, I think the last number we had was like 25, 26 mixes of that song that I had to listen to. Kill me, At that point. There was like a point where I was like, yo, this is the best song I've ever made. And then I get the 26th mix. And I was like, turn this off. But like, it was that, during the process of creating the album, I wanted to make the album focus on emotion. I could have just easily, and if you listen to the album, the intro explains it. I didn't want to just make it about myself, because it's easy to do. It's easy to just make something that pertains to you, and people hear your story, and then they learn about you. What I wanted to do was have someone listen to the project and learn more about themselves and about the people around them, that like making the songs as general as possible. I wanted every song to represent a certain emotion. It takes me back, like it's personal to me because it takes me to a point in my life where I felt that way. But I want it to be the same way for someone else. They hear this and they're like, I know about this. like, this is something I've been through as well. And the connecting part would be like, yo, a person you've never spoken to before, or like a person you wouldn't associate yourself. Like in high school, there's the jocks, there's the nerds, there's everything. A jock will have a song he'll relate to, and relate to one of the nerds who like that exact same song. Their lives aren't that different. They feel a certain way. Like you felt heartbreak before, but just in a different form.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all human. We're here to understand each other some more. So like me growing up not having too many friends, I always wanted people to understand me. So I figured if they weren't going to understand me by conversing with me, I'll use art. And that was a big point. So I admit it was like a big song about realizing that the old me that I was so worried about is gone. And that like I'm learning to be okay with the type of person that I'm labeled as now. And like how I look at myself has to change because I'm changing myself. You know, like it's just, that was like a big thing about self-acceptance and just like,
Yeah. And I it's very relatable because even someone like me who grew up and I was labeled a shy person, you know, even to be here now talking to you, it's kind of it would have thrown that 5-year-old person off.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool to kind of embrace change, you know, but still keep those same roots. I feel like as more things have been thrown your way, as you became a little more popular, being sent to different countries to rap and stuff like that, I think you still kept, you know, your core of what you love. You know, you're big on helping people, loving people, having your friends. I haven't really seen too much change. Just the music just keeps getting better in the process.
That's the thing,
it's changing a little bit.
The only thing I want to change is what people used to think of me. So it's like I'm still the same person, but people don't know that. The people I grew up with didn't know that. They don't know the type of person I was. They just kind of assumed, and that's part of why I love Staten Island so much, because I feel like that's exactly the same treatment us as a city gets from everywhere else. You know, people look at Staten Island and they're like, oh, that's them. They're dirty. They're this and that. You know, but I'm like, you know, you've never been here. There's so many people who don't even know the ferry is free. You know, and it's like it's just the second you come out here, you see what we have community-wise, what we have art-wise, and you're like, oh wow, this is actually dope. And that's kind of how I felt growing up. You know, people just they hearsay, just stuff like that, and then they come and talk to me finally, and they're like, wow, you know, you're not trash. So like, that's what I want to do, man. I want to use this music to like show people like I'm a human being just like you, and we could love each other. You know, it's simple. Just give me a chance. Give the city a chance. Give everybody a chance.
And speaking of chance, I know the way you end the project with the test. I feel like you're having a conversation with someone in that record. Is it the world? Is it a love interest? Is it? So
that song, I wanted to be separate. I still wanted people to have like an emotion, a feeling from that song, but I wanted it to be separate from the entirety of the project, which is why I put it after the outro. Because okay, so my inspiration for this placement and why I did it this way is because, have you ever watched Bollywood movies? Like,
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so Bollywood movies, they're like Indian films, where usually there's a lot of musical numbers, and I dated a couple brown girls, so I had to be informed on how this worked. So I ended up, you know, being with them. I ended up watching Bollywood movies and whatnot. And what I noticed is, at the end of the movies, after the credits, there's usually one last scene where every cast member comes back out for a final musical number, regardless of if they died or anything, because it has nothing to do with the original story. Have you ever watched Slumdog Millionaire?
Yeah.
That was like, so that happens. Because there's a lot of Indian artists in there, they took the traditional approach for Bollywood movies. So at the end, everybody comes back and they have a musical number. So my idea for it was, I wanted to remind people that technically the album ends at I Admit It, which is kind of like a bittersweet moment, you know. I messed up, but I'm all right with it. But at the end of the day, you're still messed up. So it's like, it just feels bittersweet. There's acceptance, but there's still a pain there. I wanted people to know that regardless of what the problem is currently, things will always get better. So I wanted that final musical number to be something positive and like, you know, something that gets people wanting to move, wanting to dance, and that's why it's so different from the rest of the album. The test was that song.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like little things that I had inspiration from, but like, yeah, that was more so talking just as a random separate thing.
Got it. Yeah, because you kind of come in and out, but it sounds like there's like a little love interest there too, and like you're kind of it feels like you're kind of walking off into the sunset regardless of what happened before.
Yeah, man. I just figured like, hey, I could cry about being like weird, or I could just like, hey, Ma, you cute, you know? Like, I might as well go ahead and do that instead of crying.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best time. But yeah,
That's real, man. Yeah, and you know, just dealing with things, I could tell there were certain parts of the album where, you know, you go from Aurora to Ducky, where, you know, it feels like a very up-tempo, happy thing. And then you go right into Lost, where it almost feels like something happened with Ducky or with the person or whatever it was you're dealing with. Whatever you're celebrating in Ducky, it almost feels like it's leaving or it's getting away or it's like going separate ways. You know what I mean? And the transition from Aurora to Ducky, it almost felt like I was back in college.
Yeah.
You know, like things are going good, and this happened, and wait, what about this? And
it means a lot that you like. That's the whole point of the album is like that exact thing. You know, you hear a song and like you'd like it, but it also takes you to a point of your life where that would apply. You know, so that whole section of the album is dedicated to, we're gonna call her Ducky. It's my first love, and sadly, my still love. I hate you, but it's 4 songs. It's Aurora, Ducky, Gemini, Lost, and it is the story of falling in love and losing what you've had. So it's dealing with love and loss, and that's definitely something I dealt with within the whole cycle of this album, and I had to include as much of it as possible so that people would still get that idea of where I was when I made the album. So this whole album takes course of 5 years, by the way. So it's like I was dealing with a lot for 5 years, you know, and yeah, that's precisely what it was, man. Like you got it on the nose with it. It was like dealing with love, and then something happens, and you're screwed, you know. And it's just that was how I felt. That was a real one.
But the way you kind of created it, I literally kind of saw like a Casablanca. It felt like a Casablanca hip hop moment, you know, just kind of because you got really soulful, and then you know if you haven't heard it, definitely check it. I think it's one of my favorite cuts on the album, along with I Admit It, because you kind of get conditioned in the first couple of records, you know, you do waves, you do highlights where you're just kind of getting punched in the face with lyrics, and then you kind of swoop into that.
That's exactly
and then to kind of end it very heroically, despite the things that happen along the way. I thought it was, you know, it's definitely I was talking to my friend earlier. It's probably my favorite album of the year, you know, and
Thank you.
The Mac Millers and the and R.I.P. to him, you know, one of the best to ever do it. But just the album, it, you know, it really, I truly enjoyed it, you know, and to see your journey, I think that also I connected with you too, because I've seen you literally since rapping, and you know, at Musication 3, like 4 years ago.
Sheesh.
So to then see it kind of all come back full circle and see you last week in Musication 6, that it was just it was pretty heroic, you know, just seeing it all, and it was definitely a good vibe, man. And,
that was an amazing experience. It felt really good. Like, thank you guys for that, because that was I was looking forward to that for so long. It was amazing.
And it was great to see, because I remember that first one, the person who I was throwing the event with, Christian. I remember he became a believer of you after that. He he kind of saw you at an earlier event. I think we did that Christmas event.
Yeah.
And
we did that before Musication?
or was it a month? It's hard to remember.
Because normally
3 years.
I think it was
3 years. 4 years.
I think it was. Give us was after.
After, okay.
Yeah, because normally you guys do it in November.
Yeah.
Musication in November.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He saw it. He was like, "Whoa, this guy's really takes it really. He's pretty good." And it's been just great to see the journey, man.
It's been insane. It's been an interesting time.
I'm sure a lot of people hear these records and they're probably just like, "What's this guy do? Does he just go in? Does he go off the top? Is he typing in his phone? You know, like that."
Oh yeah, I do.
How does it kind of get out there?
I eventually want to do a whole freestyle song. I definitely want to try something like that. But no, I haven't been that brave yet. I'll do a bunch of stupid stuff. Like, if you guys check out anything, like I did a song where like I start off, I walk in and it's like spaghetti sauce, and I just talk about how I like to eat spaghetti sauce without the pasta, just for like a good couple seconds. But yeah, well, like the process I go through is like sometimes it's just I'll have an idea and I can't get to my phone fast enough. So I'll like write it down real quick. But like I cannot tell you how many different notes I have in different places where I like don't even know where certain ideas are, and I'm so mad because like I'm thinking I'm being proactive by like helping myself find a place to do it, but then I'm like later I'm like, where did I put that goddamn like?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very scatterbrained. I'm all over the place when it comes down to like trying to get things out there. But you know, it's worked so far. It's worked.
Yeah, because you know the songs are they're deep, they're introspective, and you know you've been in the game for 5 years or so, but you know I feel like you're able to really channel yourself. It doesn't feel like you're grabbing from other things, which I really like, because I feel like when people start, you know, I had a moment in hip hop where when I started, it was constantly, I sound like Jada, but when I hear your stuff, I could be like, oh, maybe he listened to this growing up, but it's hard to exactly pinpoint, which is really cool. So, you know, if anyone's out there and they haven't heard this guy, I highly recommend it, because it's definitely a new experience, and it'll bring you back and it'll bring you forward at the same time.
Music is cool. Just thinking about it, dude. Like, I kind of just got like speechless. Like I was here, said 5 years, man, and like time flies when you're having fun. Like, I really love this stuff, and just the fact that it's been years. Like, it doesn't even feel like it. Like at this album dropping feels like the beginning. It feels like we just started, and so like I feel like that's a good thing.
Yeah,
because that's that boost. That means I'm ready to go for a whole other 5 years. I just wanna keep creating, and like I just wanna make big things happen, man. From me, my family, us, and the city. Like, I just want to do everything. So this is just an amazing situation. I'm happy that people like what I'm doing.
Yeah, and if you guys are out there and you haven't heard of this guy, make sure to check him out on Instagram. Eddy Got Salsa, right?
Eddy GOTSALSA.
And be sure to check out the new album.
Uploaded, available now, everywhere.
Make sure to support your local artist, your local painter, because one day they're going to be creating classic albums, creating classic paintings too. So, you know, if you're out there, don't wait for someone to become famous. For the right moment to support them, you know, get them to that point. And, you know, right here, you're seeing it before anyone else.